Sasunyabari Paschachidasatharine Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhaktivinoda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhaktivinoda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shadvaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jai Gaur Premanandi Hare Hare Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Shrivadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pachani and Visasis in the Radha Krishna. So today we're going to continue the You Are Pure Devotee class series, see how far we get. And I think we're going to come up with some affirmations. So Christy, if I come up with an affirmation, can you write it down? First one, I am a pure devotee. That's the first affirmation. Or maybe we can just say, I am pure. Because that's my nature. I am pure. So can everyone recite that? Everyone could say, I am pure. Okay. The next one, I am blissful. Even if you're not, you are. Okay, can everyone say that? I am blissful. Yeah, look at Nadia. She looks blissful. And the next one, I am full of knowledge. You already know this, Satchit Ananda. I am full of knowledge. Everybody can say that. I am full of knowledge. You don't have to go to school. You are full of knowledge. Just chant Hare Krishna. Tell your parents, I'm not going to school. I'm just chanting Hare Krishna. I'm full of knowledge. And only kidding. And the last one, for now, I am eternal. How about this one? The pure nature of the soul is Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness means consciousness of Krishna, but it means love of Krishna. So let's just say I am love, although I know that won't sound exactly right to everybody, but it's true. Well, I am love. That's my pure nature. I am love. Let's add it. How do you want to say this? I am full of love and compassion. Let's say that. That's better. We can erase the other one. I'm full of love and compassion. So how many is that? Is that 5? We have 5 already. Everybody can say that. I am full of love and compassion. We have 5 affirmations already. So those are just coming off the top of my mind. I think as we speak, other ideas will come up. So I will bring up the document and we'll begin reading. Oh yeah, here we read last week. You see this one on top? We'll make it a little bigger. Where if you go to Quest for Enlightenment, let's just read it all. We read it last time. Let's read it again. It has a nice one. A lump of gold is gold, though it may be covered with dirt. It simply has to be cleansed, then it becomes pure gold. Similarly, everyone is Krishna conscious, but on account of association with matter, people think they're different from Krishna because everyone is part and parcel of Krishna. Everyone has his qualities in minute degree. Just as a speck of gold has the qualities of the vast mass of gold in the gold mine, or as a drop of seawater contains the same ingredients as the great ocean. The difference between Krishna and us is that he is great, unlimited spiritual being, and we are infinitesimal particles of spirit. So we don't have that one yet, do we? I am spirit. Do we have that? No, I am spirit. And the other one, okay, I'm spirit, and the other one will be I possess divine qualities. Congratulations, everyone. When you were born, you possessed divine qualities. They may not have manifested, but they were there potentially. Okay, so let's everyone say, I am spirit. And then everyone say, I possess divine qualities. So now we have 7 affirmations. We need to get to like 20 if possible. 7 bhakti. We'll have bhakti affirmations. So, you could say these every day to remind yourself. Give me a second. This table goes down like that, which is kind of why it looks like I'm going down. Does it look like I'm going downhill a little bit? Do you notice that? Let me just raise the table a little bit. Hold on. Okay, I think it's better. As they say in Hawaii, mo better. It's mo better. English language gets adjusted, corrupted. I think all the British think the Americans corrupted it, and the Australians did a good job as well. Okay, I think we read this also, dialectic spiritualism. We read that. Let's read it again in case there's an affirmation we missed. When the heart is purified by hearing and chanting, the living entity naturally awakens. And that's the Nityasiddha Krishna Prema. The truth is there, but we have forgotten it. Oh, yeah. Here's another one. I am Krishna conscious by nature. There's some redundancy. We can edit later. So this verse, Nityasiddha Krishna Prema, I am Krishna conscious by nature. The truth is there. All right, we're going to have to chant it. Everyone, are you ready? I am Krishna conscious by nature. You can say that. I am Krishna. You must be feeling good already. I possess divine qualities. I'm spirit. I possess divine qualities. I'm Krishna conscious by nature. I'm eternal. I'm blissful. I have divine qualities. Wow. Feeling better already, aren't you? Otherwise, the other mantras, I'm stupid, I'm this, I'm that, my body's a lump of ignorance, I'm in Maya, we chant those affirmation. What's the opposite of antonym to affirmation? Defamation. We chant the 10 defamations. So we want to chant affirmations. I don't know if that defamation is the antonym. Can somebody look it up on Google? The antonym to affirmation. Is there a word? But defamation could also be used. Yeah. The 10 bhakti defamations. I am useless. I am worthless. I am stupid. I am this. I'm that. Okay. Did you find it? Let's see. Disavow. That doesn't sound pretty though. I like defamation. The 10 maybe we have to come up with a book, and the second half of the book will be the 10 disavowals or 10 defamation, then self-atma defamations. Yeah. Nadia, you'll have to help us write that one. Okay. I guess we could all do a good job. You can help Nadia. We're all pretty good at it. Okay, Nectar Devotion. This is from the 4th verse. Krishna consciousness is not artificially imposed upon the heart. It is already there. When one chants the holy name of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the heart is cleansed of all mundane contamination. So we have that one, right? I'm Krishna conscious by nature. Maybe we should say, I am Krishna conscious. Or that's like too much to believe. Okay, I'm Krishna conscious by nature, probably better, right? To get you to say I'm Krishna conscious, you're going to go, I don't know about that. So here, and in other places, hold on. I have something on my phone I think would be appropriate. Let me read this. It's kind of, I think it will apply. By chanting without offenses, you will personally realize that all perfections come from the holy name. Through chanting, the distinction that exists between the self and the gross and subtle bodies is gradually effaced, and one realizes one's own spiritual form. Once aware, you have a spiritual form. Did you know that? Yeah, you have one. Let's write that down. I have a spiritual form. I have a spiritual form. We can all chant that. I have a spiritual form. So before we end class, I think you can put them all together and we can recite them one after another. Once aware of the spiritual body, as one continues to chant, one sees the transcendental nature of the Lord's form. Only the holy name reveals the spiritual form of the living being and then causes him to be attracted to Krishna's form. Only the holy name reveals the spiritual qualities of the living being and then causes him to be attracted to Krishna's qualities. Isn't that interesting? The holy name reveals your form as a soul, reveals your form and relationship, reveals your spiritual qualities, it reveals Krishna's qualities. Interesting. Or only the holy name reveals the spiritual activities of the living being and then causes him to be attracted to Krishna's pastimes. So as you understand your qualities, you understand Krishna's qualities, you understand your relationship, your spiritual form, you understand his. As you understand his activities, your activities, and as you understand what are spiritual activities, you understand his activities. Or Prabhupada saying you don't understand, you become attracted. You understand your spiritual qualities, you become attracted to his. Your spiritual activities, you become attracted to his. Like that. By service to the holy name, we do not mean only the chanting of the holy name, it also includes the other duties of the chanter. If we serve the holy name with body, mind, and soul, then the direction of that service spontaneously manifests like the sun in the clear sky of the chanter's heart. What is the nature of the holy name? Eventually, all these understandings spontaneously appear in the heart of one who chants the holy name. The true nature of Harinam is revealed by listening to, reading, and studying the scriptures. It is unnecessary to write anything further on this subject. All these things will be revealed to you through chanting. That is from, who do you think wrote that? Who wants to guess? If you say I wrote, if you think I wrote it, that would be an extreme compliment because I didn't. Srila Prabhupada, you are absolutely wrong. What do you think wrote it? But of course, okay, I'll give you a hint. Of course, whatever Prabhupada says perfectly follows what his Guru Maharaj says, right? So if you hear something that Bhakti Siddhanta says and you think Prabhupada wrote it, that's a great compliment to Prabhupada. So I guess I gave it away. We've got the sandwich here, Bhaktivinoda Thakur and Prabhupada, but in the middle is Bhakti Siddhanta. So Bhakti Siddhanta read that. The reason I thought this was relevant, I'll read the last sentence. I think it becomes obvious. All these things will be revealed to you through chanting. A letter from Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So he's, as we just read, it's basically saying that, everything is there, the holy name will uncover it. It's pretty encouraging, right? So this, this is encouraging because he's saying you will understand your relation with Krishna through chanting. You'll understand his qualities. You'll understand, everything will be understood. All these things will be revealed to you through chanting. Eventually, all these understandings spontaneously appear in the heart of one who chants the holy name. Of course, there's quality to that chanting for sure, but I think it underscores what we're talking about, doesn't it? That you are pure. Okay, everybody say, I am pure. Yeah, you are pure. Now, everybody say, now I need to act purely. Yeah, that's the second half. I have all divine qualities. Now I need to manifest them. I am Krishna conscious by nature. Now I need to manifest. That's the second half of the affirmation. Okay, look, we're going to read from Srimad Bhagavatam, the ripened fruit of the Vedic tree of knowledge, from 7th canto, 7th chapter, text 39, purport. Or as some non-Americans say, some Europeans say, purport. It's actually purport. You say that? How do you say it, Kristen?
Purport, I guess.
Yeah, purport. Yeah. I never even heard the word before. I read Prabhupada's Gita. It means explanation, summary. Why don't you look up what it means on Google? Yeah. Mm. The meaning or sense of something typically documented. Okay, we have to stop because Jyotirmai says she doesn't like affirmations. Okay, so they sound so unreal if I say that I am something that is far from what I am. Okay, that's true. Well, let me explain it on two levels. The level that we're saying it here is it's not far from who you are, it is who you are. That's the point. That's why we can say it, because you are a pure devotee. I mean, that is your nature. You are full of knowledge. I mean, that's what it says in Bhagavad Gita, in Srimad Bhagavatam, you're full of knowledge, bliss, and eternal. So, you may not feel like that, but you are. There is a power in what you say, for sure. There's power in words, right? To bring about changes of consciousness, right? Right? We may not be pure, but we are pure. That's how we understand it. I'm not pure, but I am pure by nature. I'm not a pure devotee, but I am a pure devotee by nature. I don't feel eternal, but you are. I don't feel blissful, but you are. I don't feel full of knowledge, but you are. So the idea of these affirmations, I'm hoping, is just a reminder, because if Jyotirmai, if we don't, I will ask you a question. Well, think about what you chant in your mind. Do you chant anything negative? Because if you do, then these are positive to overcome the negative. Okay, can somebody give me one of the 20 defamations they say? I'm using the word defamation to be the antonym of affirmation. Can someone give me a defamation? Like I'll start it off. I am stupid. Okay, that goes against I'm full of knowledge. Right? What else? So I am contaminated. I am impure. Right? You ever say that? You ever feel that way? Well, you don't have to say it. I'm sure we all feel it. I don't do it right. I'm useless. I'm not enough. Yeah. Well, you're full of knowledge, eternal bliss. What more could you be than that? If that's not enough, I don't know what is. I can't keep my promise. I'm bad. Yeah. So I'm nonsense. Not enough. Yeah. So I think we can see how. I think what I would like you to do is, Christy, bliss is too long for this class. Okay. What I would like you all to do, we'll give you all the affirmations at the end of the class, and then you can copy them and just say them. Say them today, say them tomorrow, and when we'll meet back on Friday. Well, we won't, because that's the Russian class. Anyway, when we meet back in our next class, you have practice. You will have. Today's Wednesday, actually. So Thursday we're not doing class. Friday is Russian, so it'll be a different topic. Monday I'm driving back from where I am to Alachua, and probably driving back at class time. So we may not have class Monday, probably not. So you'll have a week to practice these. Then we can get your feedback and see if these affirmations actually help. What would also be interesting, I mean, obviously they'll help, but what would also be interesting to see is if they actually start to override the negative affirmations, if there's such a thing as a negative affirmation. I don't know, that doesn't make sense, but you understand what I'm saying. Okay, so we're using you as my guinea pigs for my KC experiment on affirmations. So, but one of the things that I've understood, and I think we all know this, if you say something over and over, it starts to have an effect on you. Like if you're an athlete you want to do something that's difficult, you kind of have to affirm, you have to have some affirmation that I can do this. Because if you don't, and it's difficult, you're probably not going to be able to do it. So the affirmation has power to give you confidence or to help you overcome your fear. If you keep saying, I'll never do this, I'll never do this, it's going to be difficult, or maybe impossible to do it. So that's the idea of saying something. It connects you, even if you feel, let's say like Jyotirmai, let's say, I felt you could do something that you didn't think you could do. And I kept saying, you can do it, you can do it, you can do it. And you're saying, I can't do it, I can't do it, I can't do it. And I said, okay, can you go with me for 5 minutes? Just go with me. Stop telling yourself you can't do it and go with me. And you say, okay, I'll just listen to you. You can do it, you can do it. Jyotirmai, you can do it. There's a good chance you'll be able to do it because you stopped listening. The affirmation overrid the negative. So let's see if that happens by saying these. That's the power of words. The other thing is, which is also, oh yeah, like Melita says, it changes trajectory. It changes what you're focusing on. Another thing about affirmations is what you want to do. What? Nadia said, just getting immediate results from these affirmations. Another thing you want to do is imbibe these as realities because they are. I mean, basically all we're doing is taking the philosophy and we're putting it into an affirmation. You know, I'm spirit soul, I am Brahman. That's like everywhere in Bhagavad Gita, right? So it is already an affirmation. I'm eternal, full of knowledge and bliss. They're affirmations. We don't see them that way. We see them as philosophy, right? That's our philosophy. These are philosophical, these are tattvas, these are truths. But the idea of an affirmation, which makes it so nice, is you're supposed to try to enter into it emotionally, like feel, I am full of knowledge, and feel it. That's how affirmations gain power, is if you can emotionally connect with it. You know, I am a pure devotee. And on some level, feel it. Don't doubt it, but feel it. Yeah, that's what Krishna is saying. We feel them deep inside, otherwise it won't change anything. So how to feel what we don't feel? Because, well, the thing about these is they're all true. So let's go with the one, I am Krishna conscious by nature. So I think perhaps the answer to your question, Krishna Karshani, is to throw it back at you and everyone else and say, well, I'll ask you all this question, how I'm spirit soul, how do I feel it? So if I asked you, okay, let's look at it this way. You are all actors in a drama. You are all actors in a drama. You're actors in a drama, right? And so I say, Anuradha, what you have to do is act out spirit soul. Krishna Karshani, what you have to do is act out that you're eternal. Tanya, you have to act out that you have divine qualities like that. So you're thinking, okay, well, if I'm to embody that particular quality, how would that feel? Because to act, you have to feel it, right? That's when the actor is most convincing, is because they feel it. So it looks real, you know. And that emotion may be real for them while they're acting. They just embody that. I am a pure devotee. Okay, how would you act that? How would you feel that without being proud? And then you have to start thinking, okay, I'm Krishna conscious by nature. My Krishna consciousness is covered, but that's who I am. I've done this myself with many of these affirmations. It's extremely powerful. You don't like psych yourself out and think, well, I'm a pure devotee right now, but you're entering into more of a philosophical affirmation. I am pure by nature. I have these divine qualities by nature. This is who I am. And you start to meditate on that. It's beautiful. It's much more encouraging than thinking, you know, there's something wrong with me. Isn't it? So why don't you try that? Just, you know, try to enter in and maybe take one of the affirmations that's easier for you to enter into, to experience. And then once you learn how to do that, feeling feeling also may take practice. So once you learn to do it with one, it'll become easier with the next. Yeah, this is a good point on erotics. They give us hope because even we do not experience it, we know at least that is true. And this is who we are. Yeah, so some of the experience may be more intellectual, like I am a pure devotee. Okay, I don't feel like a pure devotee, but I can intellectualize it. And there's some experience even by intellectualizing it. Well, I am a pure devotee. It's pretty exciting, right? You are, you're looking at your life and you may be thinking, it's not so great. But then you realize, but I'm spirit soul, I'm eternal, I'm part of Krishna, I have divine qualities. That's exciting, isn't it? And so just because you meditate on that, there can be happiness, right? Wow, I actually have all divine qualities. It's not hopeless. I was giving up hope, but it's not hopeless because the qualities are there. I just have to scratch the surface. I'll give an example. Maybe it'll help us. When devotees first went to India, obviously they didn't know anything about India, and they really didn't know anything about Indians because there were very few Indians in America. In fact, immigration laws for Indians to come to America only opened up in 1965 when Prabhupada came, or 66. Did you know that? But prior to that, it's very rare that we saw Indians. I saw a few Indian students, but it's very, very rare. So we didn't know much about Indians. So when we were in India, Prabhupada said to us, he said, Krishna consciousness is in the heart of the Indians. All the Indians, it's there. It's just a little below the surface. And if you just scratch it, it'll just immediately come out. I think anyone who's been to India has that experience. You just meet an ordinary person and you start talking to them and you mention something of the Gita or Mahabharata or Ramayana or something. And there's this emotion. I'll tell you a story. This is a beautiful story. I remember it today. It took place 50 years ago, maybe 49 and a half. And we were on traveling Sankirtan, and the first time any devotees had ever gone to the city of Edmonton, Canada. And we were going to visit professors one day. And I met a Indian professor. He must have been in his 60s or so, right? And so he's living in Canada teaching. He's removed, obviously, from his home and his parents, grandparents, and that whole thing. And so he came to know that I was Krishna conscious. And we were talking, right? And in the middle of the conversation, he started singing, Govinda Jai Jai, Gopala Jai Jai. And he said, we used to sing this like with our grandparents when we were kids. And he just started crying. It was just like, it all came out. Scratch the little surface, it comes out. So I think that's the way we can understand that all of these qualities are just there. We just have to scratch a little. Well, for us Westerners, scratch deeper than Indians generally. We have to scratch a little deeper, but it's all there. So if I tell you, Krishna Karshini, your nature is to be a pure devotee, that's pretty exciting, right? That's good news. You have all divine qualities. That's there. It just have to scratch a little. That's good news. So maybe we can, by experiencing the good news, have some emotional experience. Wow, yeah, it's down there. Oh, it's there. It doesn't feel like it's there, but it is. So rather than meditating on how I'm feeling at this point that it doesn't feel like it's there, I can start having another experience. Well, actually, it is there. And allow myself to feel that. And then when I recite the affirmation, it becomes more powerful. And of course, it gives us a reminder of the philosophy and also a direction. As Malita said, it changes your direction. And then Nadi says, wonderful how these positive KC thoughts really help me in my day-to-day life. It stops me from doing something bad and it helps me do something what a pure devotee would do if he was in the same situation. Yeah. What would Jesus do? What would a pure devotee do? Yeah. And it's actually a beautiful meditation. And it can help you tremendously. If you think, actually, I'm a pure devotee, I just forgot. I'm a pure devotee with amnesia. That's all, basically. Should that be an affirmation? I'm a pure devotee with amnesia. Should we have that? I don't know. Write it down. These affirmations are up for grabs. Choose the ones you like. We'll decide later when we publish the book. I'm a pure devotee with amnesia. It's true. Okay. So let's read this again. On the other hand, our relationship with Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is eternal. Nitya Siddha Krishna Prema. Madhya Lila 22:107. Nitya means eternal. Siddha means perfection. Krishna Prema, of course, means love of Krishna. Our eternal perfection, our eternal nature is we have love of Krishna. The pure souls are eternally in love with Krishna. And this permanent love, either as a servant, a friend, a parent, or conjugal lover, is not at all difficult to revive. That's good news. I'll read that again. Is not at all difficult to revive. Especially in this age, the concession is that simply by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nama eva kevalam, Chaitanya Charitamrita Adilila 21. One revives his original relationship with God and thus becomes so happy that he does not want anything material. As enunciated by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, na dhanam na janam na shundarim kavitam va jagadisha kamaye Chaitanya Charitamrita Antya-lila, chapter 20, text 29, Sikshashtakam, verse 4. A very advanced devotee in Krishna consciousness does not want riches, followers, or possessions. Madaya kalatram phashava shutradhayo griha mahi kunjarakosha bhutaya. I have no idea where that's from. Just see. That verse is not familiar to me. The satisfaction of possessing material opulences, although perhaps of a different standard, is available even in the lives of dogs and hogs who cannot revive their eternal relationship with Krishna. Just give me a second. I'm just going to see if I can copy this and put it into the database so I can search it. I do not recognize that verse. That's Prahlad, prayers in the room. Wow. Do you don't see the database, do you, on my computer? Okay. If I bring up the database, I'm going to stop share, and I can share again the database. You see that now, right? The verse. So this is 7739. This is actually, oh, that's why Prabhupada's quoting this verse. This is the verse that the purport is about. One's riches, beautiful wife and female friends, one's sons and daughters, one's residence, one's domestic animals like cows, elephants, and horses, one's treasury, economic development, and sense gratification. Indeed, even the lifetime in which one can enjoy all these material opulences are certainly temporary and flickering. Since the opportunity of human life is temporary, what benefit can these material opulences give to a sensible man who has understood himself to be eternal? Okay, this is nice. Now we have the verse. I didn't put the verse in. So this is beautiful because if every day we chant the affirmation, I am eternal, maybe one day we'll have the same realization as Prahlad Maharaj. The last line, Since the opportunity of human life is temporary, what benefit can these material opulences give to a sensible man who has understood himself to be eternal? Maybe we'll start thinking like that. So I'm just going to keep this up and we'll read it from here. Actually, I didn't have the whole verse, did I? So now I have to find it. There we go. So we'll just read the rest. Now, beginning after this verse, I'll bring it to the top. The satisfaction of possessing material opulences, although perhaps of a different standard, is available even in the lives of dogs and hogs. Did you know that? Some dogs have some nice dog houses, at least in America. Although that's not what Prabhupada is referring to. He's referring to the standard of sense gratification. The satisfaction of possessing material opulences, although perhaps of a different standard, is available even in the lives of dogs and hogs who cannot revive their eternal relationship with Krishna. In human life, however, our eternal dormant relationship with Krishna is possible to revive. Therefore, Prahlad Maharaj has described this life as artadam. Consequently, instead of wasting our time for economic development, which cannot give us any happiness, if we simply try to revive our eternal relationship with Krishna, we will properly utilize our lives. So you may have heard Prabhupada say something which was quite significant. It might have kind of entered your ear and one ear and gone out the other without any, not that you didn't understand it, but without any real like pizzazz, like knocking you out or anything. Sometimes we hear it, but it just doesn't do anything for us. So oftentimes Prabhupada says the enjoyment of a dog, for example, he uses the example of a dog or a hog. A dog is good because dogs are all around us. We see them. We don't see many hogs, not in the West. So we use the example of dog, the enjoyment of a dog. So when you see a dog, what are they doing? So usually they're playing, right? Running around, having a good time. So, and we also run around and have a good time. But Prabhupada's saying the dog's having as good time as you are. And that sometimes you might see a dog eating something. Well, if it's your own dog, you'll see the dog eating. And, you look at the dog food and think, poor dog, you have to eat that. I'd never eat that. Of course, now I think dog food's getting better, right? Dog food, human food, maybe, vegan dog food, If you get really hungry, probably you could eat it. But isn't it when you see the food of other animals, you think, ooh, how could you eat that? And then Prabhupada gives the example that, you like halava, but for a hog, stool is like as tasty as halava. We can't understand that. So we think, poor hog, you're just like eating trash, And Prabhupada's saying, no, but the hog, what he's eating, for him, the experience is the same as your experience eating halava. So he's trying to say that the sensual pleasure of the animals, although it doesn't seem to be the same as yours, it is. And he gives the example of sex, gives the example of sleeping. Like, when the dog's sleeping peacefully, he may sleep more peacefully than us. Like he's probably not as much in anxiety as we are. So he's sleeping, we're sleeping, although he's sleeping on the grass or a carpet or outside. But his experience of sleep, even though we're sleeping on a nice mattress in a nice home, his experience of sleep is the same. So it's like when Prabhupada would give these examples, what he was saying is kind of like, so humans, what's the big deal? You have an apartment, the dog doesn't, but what's the big deal? He eats his dog food out of a plastic bowl, and you eat your food in a nice restaurant off a beautiful plate with silverware. But what's the difference? The taste, that the dog is experiencing the same pleasure you're experiencing. So what is Prabhupada trying to say when he's saying that? He's saying, look, if that's what you do, then it's a polite way of the spiritual master basically calling you a pig. Because sometimes, we call people pigs who eat too much. Do you call someone a pig who eats too much in South America? I mean, we do, and yeah, you probably got it from us in North America. Everything bad in South America was exported from the United States, right? So look at that fat pig, right? So it's kind of like Prabhupada's a nice way of calling us dogs and hogs. But more importantly, he's trying to make a point that if you do what they're doing, like, what's the big deal? Like, if you do it, what's the big deal? Because the dog can do it. And you are spirit soul, and you can scratch and actually get your Krishna consciousness out. The dog can't. I mean, a rare dog can't, but generally a dog can't, and you can. So you do the same thing as a dog. You don't scratch, get your Krishna consciousness out. What does that make you? I won't say it. I don't want to offend anybody. Well, Prabhupada said it, Bhagavatam says it. Two-legged animal, basically. So, those are hard words, but sometimes we need those hard words because it just shakes us up. Yeah, I'm living like a dog, isn't it? So even though I may not completely feel the affirmation, we can still, I think we can enter the mood of them because we have so much philosophy to back us up. Okay. It's kind of like, yeah. In a sense, I was thinking there was a discussion of an interesting topic to talk about. I'm going to throw it out because it's just, I don't want to, it's interesting. The topic of guru abuse, a guru abusing a disciple. So this topic came up. And if you go online, it comes under the heading of pastoral abuse, like how a leader will take advantage of the submission of a follower to mistreat them or exploit them. So I was thinking about it, and I was thinking, well, look at second chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Someone could say, Krishna is abusing Arjuna. He's calling him a fool. That's psychological abuse. Krishna is abusing Arjuna. He said, you fool. And Krishna is not sensitive. Arjuna's like feeling, depressed about this. And Krishna, he's not sensitive. I mean, you could say that, right? I mean, I wouldn't say it, but somebody could say it, isn't it? I mean, he wasn't sensitive. He's told Arjuna's like having a nervous breakdown, and Krishna's saying, you're just a fool. Get over it. In modern psychology, if you were like a psychologist and you told that to your patient, you'd lose your license, wouldn't you, Gabriella? Like, take away your license. You can't treat a patient like that. So sometimes, can you hear that phone? Yeah. This is the This is a world of artificial intelligence, a world without people. Right? It's great. You don't have to deal with people. Wonderful. Nobody to get mad. I can't get mad at her because you're bothering me. Be quiet. Can't say that. She's not a person. Okay. So sometimes the spiritual master, he has to say things like, hey, you're living your life like a dog. Well, that's abusive. You can't say that. The way it is now in America, if a parent said that to a kid, the kid could take the parents to court and sue them. It's like getting kind of really bad now, isn't it? My guru said I'm living like a dog. I'm taking him to court and suing him for verbal abuse. Yeah. But he was just quoting Bhagavatam. I don't care. It's abusive. So obviously there is such a thing as pastoral abuse. I'm not saying there isn't, but sometimes the guru may have to, quote unquote, be a little abusive to wake the disciple up and go, yeah, I was just thinking like a dog and living like one. Thank you, Guru Maharaj, for waking me up. So sometimes Bhagavatam and the words of the acharyas are like, they wake you up a bit. Okay, now we have Melita. Melita, where are you from? Anuradha, is this Melita? Is that a Spanish? No? No, okay. So Melita says, maybe if the pressure was reduced on meeting the purity that everyone judges themselves, yeah, and just strive to make better choices that head towards supporting the community of Krishna more than isolated self-judgment. Yes. Krishna will always love you as pure and just chant. Yeah. So this is like a whole topic for another 10 lectures. And I've been thinking about this a lot lately. You remember I told you on Monday, this community I had? Maybe 1,000 people here. They're all over mostly over 70, a lot in the 80s. Mostly quite successful people. And they all become devotees. Now what do we do? What they've all become devotees and they're coming to you, Anuradha. And what do you tell them? You tell them, okay, you have to get up at 4 a.m. By 4:30, you should be doing Mangalarti. At 5, you should be chanting your rounds. Try to finish them by 7:15, then do group, That's what ideally we should be telling them, right? Because that's what they should be doing. But when you start looking at, that's fine in the temple, of course, these people are coming to surrender. But when you start looking at people in the world who are becoming devotees, the question is, what do you tell them? And what do you tell them so they don't become neurotic about not being able to follow everything, right? And this is a real issue because I'm asking you to meditate on this. If these 1,000 people said, I want to become a devotee, and they came to you and said, tell us what to do, what would you tell them? Knowing that they're 80 years old and they've spent their life living quite a luxurious life. I mean, nice people, responsible, good parents, good husbands, good wives, but obviously not practicing the discipline and the spirituality that Krishna consciousness demands. What would you tell them? How would you guide them? What would be the limitation? So it's an interesting question. I think we could write a whole book on this. So we want people to be inspired, right? On any level that they're practicing Krishna consciousness, we want them to be inspired. And we don't want to pressure them to be something they can't, because that's when all the problems come, right? And that's why Prabhupada was cautious. He said, well, if you're going to take initiation, then you have to be able to follow what you're committing to. And don't commit until you can follow. So now I'm going to digress a little bit because this is an important point. What do you do if you're very enthusiastic and you take initiation and you're committed and you're doing fine year after year after year? This is, you've decided this is my last life and I want to serve Krishna with my life and I want to make others Krishna conscious. And then all of a sudden you go into your Venus period. You know about the Venus period? That's when all the devotees go, pooh. Not all the devotees. I went through my Venus period once or twice as a devotee. I'm still here. But some people actually, when they enter some astrological period, they have trouble. So what do they do? How do we deal with that? That's such an important question because it's not uncommon that it happens, right? And it's not uncommon that when someone goes through that, not only are they having personal difficulties just because they're having difficulty following, they're having difficulty dealing with the sense of failure and all the guilt and shame that comes with it. And so, as I said on Monday, it's like we have the potential to really mess people up isn't it? Especially those who get initiated. But this talk is very good. I'll never have another initiation now because everyone's going to be afraid to take the vows. But I'll say a little more so you won't be so afraid. And we should try to take the vows if and when we're ready. But so naturally, if one can't keep the vows at some point in their life, they don't feel so good about it. Sometimes they isolate. They don't want to let their guru down, so they just kind of distance themselves, and they may, kind of view it in a way which maybe not the best way for them to move forward. So here's a little information that may help you from behind the scenes. Sounds like a TV show, right? We're going behind the scenes, So the way the Hare Krishna movement works is you have in front of the scenes and behind the scenes. In front of the scenes is what goes on in the temple, what you hear in Bhagavatam class, what you're hearing. My classes are not entirely in front of the scenes. They kind of do both. But generally, what you hear in public, right? This is what you hear in public is you hear what's in Bhagavatam, you hear what Prabhupada has taught, you hear the basics, the standards. But behind the scenes is all the dealings of the devotees who don't always follow those standards well, or sometimes trip and fall. And there's other classes that go on behind the scenes that you don't hear, such as a disciple going to his guru and saying, Guru Maharaj, I can't chant 16 rounds for whatever reason. Guru tries to inspire them. They discuss it. If the guru realizes, yeah, I can see you can only chant 8. And he says, okay, so chant 8 and someday get back to 16. And Guru Maharaj, I can only follow 3.5 principles. Okay, so follow 3.5. The goal is 4. And so this is going on behind the scenes, right? So then that disciple is like, he's like, okay, thank you. That really helps me. I don't have to kill myself or, shame myself. And the guru says, yeah, I understand. I understand the difficulty, but you understand what the goal is. The disciple says, yes, I understand. Say, okay, so work for that. That's what you vowed to do. So work for that. It may not happen today or tomorrow, but eventually that you want to come back to. And of course, the disciple understands it. Maybe there'll be a situation the disciple will say, I don't think I can ever come back to it. He'll work it out with his guru. That's what goes on behind the scenes. And so you have these two things going on. What's public information and what's individual application behind the scenes for each devotee. And so, of course, if you don't have a spiritual master to discuss that with, or you've never discussed it with your spiritual master, you could be having difficulty because you feel very bad about not being able to do it. So it should be, at least should be known that the spiritual master will always try to put you on the path that will get you back to Godhead, although there may be some detours here and there due to realistic situations. So like we had this discussion, I think, Krishna Karshani, you may have brought it up, this discussion, like why can't we just do 4 rounds and 3.5 principles or 3 point whatever, meaning keeping sex and marriage and, restricting it to marriage and regulating it with marriage, rather than just saying it must be 16, it must be 4, because a lot of devotees can't maintain 16 and 4. And yeah, I think we talked about it Monday, no? And the answer was, well, that was Prabhupada's standard. But Krishna Karshana will say, I know that, but the reality, you have to look at the reality, because the reality is not everybody maintains the standard throughout their life. So if they can't maintain the standard, why are we asking them to maintain the standard and making them promise it when they don't do it? So that's a very good question. And some of our godbrothers who have left ISKCON and have their own organizations have reduced it, feeling the need to do that. Not that they say, don't chant 16 and 4. Not that they say that's not the goal, but they say, what can you do now? That's the initiation. Vow to do what you can do. So you don't have to, be guilty, and you can, so when you hear that, you'll think, well, that sounds good. Why don't we all do that? Then I could get initiated tomorrow. The reason we in ISKCON don't do it is because Prabhupada set up a different standard. But behind the scenes is the idea, okay, I've chanted, I've vowed to do 16 and follow the 4 principles. And then I find down the road, I can't. So behind the scenes is working out with the guru. So in a sense, the way I see it, Krishna Karshana, this is for me personally, I could generalize for the whole movement, but I'm not sure every guru would agree with me. Although I think objectively, we could say it's true. When a devotee vows to chant 16 rounds and 4 principles, they're vowing to do it. Definitely they're vowing to do it here and now and the rest of their life. But in a broader sense, because we see that not everybody can do it, it is more like, if we look at it in an organizational sense, it is more like they're vowing to do this as best they can, but sometimes they can't. And they're always trying to get to that standard, but they may need to take a detour for a while. And a compassionate guru will say, okay, the detour is okay. But you understand what the goal is, and you understand you did vow to do that, even though you can't do it now. That's okay. I understand your difficulty, but that's what you vowed to. So that's what you want to get back to. So I think I don't know. I think we mentioned this on Monday a little bit. My meditation is that everyone should be inspired and no one should feel guilty for their failings, because as conditioned souls, pretty much it's almost guaranteed we're going to fail on some level. We're going to slip on some level. And if we don't commit a sin consciously, we'll commit it in a dream. If we don't commit it in a dream, we'll think about it here or there. It's just, that's our nature. So as long as we know what the goal is and we're willing to try for it, and we understand that we're human and we will make mistakes, and the guru understands it, and behind the scenes can work things out so that you can remain enthusiastic and get back someday, it could be 10 years from now, who knows, to following all the principles, chanting 16 rounds, then I think that's the most objectively realistic way to deal with it. Publicly, we're not going to say, when you chant your rounds, go, okay, but if you can't, like you tell me what the principles are in 16 rounds, and I say, well, that's good, and if you can't, don't worry about it. It's just like, do what you can. That's not what we're going to say publicly. But if it comes to that point with an individual, then we'll say, okay, what can you do? When you can't pay off your credit card, you call up the credit card company. They'll say, well, okay, you owe $5,000. They'll say, well, can you pay $3,000? And can you pay it this month? Then we'll drop it. So they make some adjustment, right? So that sometimes happens behind the scenes. Now, as I said, I can't speak for every guru, and maybe some gurus are just like 16 rounds, 4 principles. If you can't do that, you're a guru apparati. But generally, gurus wouldn't say that. Christy says, in the beginning, I didn't like the idea of completely trusting a stranger guru because of these bad pastoral examples. Yeah. Of abusing the trust of their followers. And this is what people who don't have an understanding of KC always fear. It is ingrained. Yeah, it sounds very Catholic. Our subconscious due to social, yeah. I mean, obviously there's a lot of pastoral abuse. We should be. Oh, Melita's from Australia. Oh. Wow, but it's late in Australia. We're staying up late, Melita. Well, it depends what part of Australia. Okay, Melita. If you're in Western Australia, then it's okay. But if you're not, you're up late. Yeah. Yeah. I'm writing something right now. I'm writing something that you're all going to get to see. And one of the sections is about abuse. Like, how do you know what abuse is? And how do you know you're being abused? Because, it does happen. You'll get to read that soon. So Tanya says, reminds me of something I read about Vishnu Jan Swami. Vishnu Maharaj, this is a quote, Vishnu Jan Maharaj told me that he became serious about joining after Srila Prabhupada referred to him in his lecture, or perhaps it was an instruction to the temple managers, as an example of a demon. It had to do with his sleeping in class, something like, here's a demon. Even he gets the opportunity to purify himself, he goes back to Maya. So then go. Don't come back again and again to do your nonsense here. It shook him up. Wow. Wow. Now Gabriella knows. That could be considered pastoral abuse. The guru has called a poor disciple a demon and told them, if you're going to sleep in class, get out of here. I never want to see your face again. And Gabriella is saying, but he was just tired, it wasn't a big thing, he just fell asleep. He didn't do it on purpose. Of course, Prabhupada knows what the disciple needs to hear. And as we hear here, Vishnu Jan Swami is saying, yeah, it's really helped me. So it's such an interesting topic, isn't it? Isn't it, Gabriella? Because there's so much of what would be called abuse that's actually necessary in helping the disciple. And there is actually obviously abuse, but at the same time, you could say that Prabhupada knew that Vishnu Jan could take it. So, Prabhupada was not heavy with everyone. He was heavy with people who could take it. He was heavy with people who could take it, who needed it. So, yeah. Christy says, this is what I fear. One can feel sure about the initiation, but when all those Venus and whatever periods come, Rahu, Rahu's a good one. What then? You can never know it. It would be terrifying to let one screw it down. But I understand. So don't be terrified. Yeah, we don't want to. Sadhe, Sati, and Rahu can be difficult periods for people in general. As we said on Monday, Prabhupada didn't do our charts though. But anyway, this is reality. So you have to talk about what's real and how to deal with it. Personally, I would want all my disciples to know they could come to me and have the behind the scenes discussion, and we work it out so that they can be happy. As I've said many times, and I think this is really true for Prabhupada, when sometimes some devotees would do something, whether it was not following a principle or something that was not perfect or maybe upsetting some devotees. If the devotee was sincere and the devotee had, been trying, I never saw Prabhupada really get on that devotee's case. And that was also another thing that, he saw that they were sincere, which means that they would be rectified. That's the idea. Tanya says, those difficult periods probably highlight some things that were always a problem. Yes, for us, that could be. But we managed to bottle them up. That could be. So maybe it's a good strategy to try to be extra conscious of our real needs and what's going on inside. Yeah. Side of us before things escalate. Yeah, definitely. And also, one of the reasons, there are many reasons why one takes initiation. One wants to make the vow. One is feeling, if I make the vow, then I'll do it. If I don't make the vow, maybe I won't do it. So that's the other side, right? Like I want to do this and I want to commit. So if I publicly do it, then I can't turn back. So that's kind of the idea that motivates a lot of people to take initiation. Now someone, Krishna Karshani may say, but are you sure you're going to follow this? And you'll say, how can I be sure? I'm only like 25. But I want to make the vow, and I want to have the integrity of committing to the vows I make. So if someone has that high level of integrity, and they can be a committed person, then taking the vows can be the thing that keeps them following the principles and chanting the rounds their entire lives. Aside from their spiritual advancement, just their integrity can do it. So I think that's important to understand also. Right? Correct. Stop share. I should have stopped the sharing a while ago. Okay, I think we've had enough. We've covered all the chat. Then we can go back to the document. This is a class, April 13th, 1975. You know where this was? Vrindavan. This was during the Vrindavan festival, and I was there. I mean, my body was there. I don't know if my mind was there, but Hare Krishna. It's quite hot at that time in Vrindavan. And before going there, I'd never been so sick in my life. I was like, I don't know what I must have had. I must have had, like, what's that disease you get in India? It's a really serious disease. I forget the name of it. But the doctor never told me what I had, but I must have had. Not dysentery, not the one with liver, not jaundice. There's another one. I was so sick. Oh my God. I had recuperated by this time. So Prabhupada says, the love for Krishna is there everywhere. Just like these European American boys. Oh, this is really good. If you're not paying attention, pay attention to this. This really answers a lot of doubts. The love for Krishna is there everywhere, just like these European American boys. Why they are loving Krishna? It is not foreign. It was there. In other words, Prabhupada saying they're foreign to India, but it's not foreign. That's his point. It was there. It's not foreign. It was there. Similarly, in everyone's heart, there's love for Krishna. Yeah. Okay, let's do another one. Maybe we'll like this affirmation better. Love for Krishna is in my heart. I like that one. I'm loving it. I like that. I think what we'll do, Anuradha, is when we chant, before we chant japa, we'll just, if you can save the affirmations, we'll just bring them into the japa. You're going to be there for japa? Yeah, so we'll bring them into the japa and we'll just recite for japa. Maybe this will like transform our japa as well. Okay. Similarly, in everyone's heart, there is love for Krishna. By cultivation, that Krishna consciousness, that love becomes developed. And when you develop that love for Krishna, then you will see Krishna 24 hours. That is wanted. So, adao shadha, tata sadhu sangha, tatoranta, taton artha, nivriti syat, tato nishta, tato bhakti. Tato nishta, tata shaktis, tato bhava, sadakanam, ayam premaha, pradhur bhave bhavet kramaha. That's the whole process from Shraddha to Prema. This is the Ado Shraddha. Ado Shraddha means in the beginning there is faith. Just like you have come here in this Krishna conscious movement meeting, because you have got little Shraddha, faith. This is called Shraddha. You have to increase this Shraddha. How? Ado Shraddha tata sadhu sangha. Sadhu sangha, of course, means association of devotees. So we have our list. We have our list there of Bhakti Affirmations. I have to copy that for myself. Oops. There may be more. Still time left, right? To add more. But all of you, if you like, you can copy that list. And I can also put it up later on the screen. Okay. So am I sharing anything on my screen now? Can you see anything? I'm going to stop sharing because I don't know what I'm doing. Go back to this document. Yeah, okay. And we have a class. This document is 4 pages, is page 2, so we're halfway through. This is from January 5th, 1976. And Prabhupada's quoting the Shishashtakam, let there be all victory for the chanting of the holy name of Senor Krishna, Mr. Krishna, and Senora Radharani. Senor, you say that? Do you say that in Spanish? Senora Radharani, yes? Which can cleanse the mirror of the heart and stop the miseries of the blazing fire of material existence. That chanting is the waxing moon that spreads the white lotus of good fortune for all living entities. It is the life and soul of all education. The chanting of the holy name of Krishna expands the blissful ocean of transcendental life. It gives a cooling effect to everyone and enables one to taste the full nectar at every step. Where are my beads? I need to cool down. I need to take a bath in nectar. Where did I leave my beads? Oh no, I need it. I'm burning up. Okay, let's read the purport. The purport is, it is a long verse that by chanting Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam, if we perform this Krishna Sankirtan, then immediately our core of heart, which is filled up with all dirty things, will be cleansed. For example, por ejemplo, you can see, ustedes, puedos, mira, how do you say that? Ustedes, not puedos, that's me, I can see. How do you say it?
Ustedes pueden ver.
Pueden ver. How would I know that? I actually contemplated yesterday that I should learn Spanish, but it didn't go beyond the contemplation stage. It's still in the contemplation stage, not in the action stage. That's my public announcement, right? It's as far as it's gone so far. For example, you can see practically all my disciples present here. They're coming from Western countries, Europe, America, or even India. Parsis and other Mohammedans, they're coming, but they are now pure, cleansed of all dirty things. In this movement, throughout the whole world, there are at least 10 to 12,000 devotees like that. And before this life, they were addicted to all kinds of sinful life. We have summarized all sinful activities into 4 groups, namely illicit sex, meat eating, intoxication, and gambling. So all these 10 to 12,000 men who are now attached with this Krishna consciousness movement, they are not committing these 4 pillars of sinful life. So this is an example that Prabhupada's using to show the public the effect of the holy name. But he also says here, and this topic is now going to come up. I don't think we'll have much time, but this topic here, Prabhupada says in the middle of the last paragraph we read, he says, but they are now pure. cleansed of all dirty things. And probably you were thinking, but I'm not pure. I'm not cleansed of all dirty things. So what does Prabhupada mean? Well, then he goes down to explain what he means. He says, well, now they're following the 4 principles. And what did Prabhupada say? If you take all the sinful activities, you can just boil them down to these 4, because if you don't do these 4, you're not going to do the other ones. And if you do these 4, you'll do the other ones. So this is interesting, because you may think you're not pure. And when you heard that sentence, heart cleansed of all dirty things, you were probably thinking, that's not me. And Prabhupada saying, yes, it is. You follow the 4 principles, it's you. That's the proof. Interesting, right? So now you're saying, oh, I'm so sinful. And Prabhupada's saying, no, you're not. If you follow these 4 principles, you're not sinful. So, you've just been defeated. You have just been defeated, ladies and gentlemen. So, yeah, we have time to read one more. Now we're going to get into some letters where Prabhupada's describing, elaborating on this point of how his disciples are pure. Let's see how far we get. This is from 1968, October 13th. People are generally engaged in karma. Karma means work and get the result and enjoy life. And jnana means speculating process to understand the absolute truth. So one who does not indulge in speculating habit, either tries to gain something by his work, but simply engages himself in the service of the Lord, he is called what is he called, everyone? Pure devotee. Amazing. We have like so many pure devotees in the Hare Krishna movement. It's amazing. Such pure devotees are very rare. But by the grace of Krishna, practically all the devotees and disciples who have kindly joined me, their symptoms are pure devotees, even if they have got some ulterior desire that will be removed very soon, because they have taken to the pure process of Krishna consciousness. So, my dear, I had this dilemma, do I call you ladies and gentlemen, Prabhus and Matajis, Prabhus and unprabhus? No, we can't do that. Fathers and mothers, it's like being politically correct now, I don't know. So I discussed with one devotee and we came up with the best address, which Sachinandan Swami uses all the time. My dear devotees, that like solves the whole problem, right? Whatever you are, however you want to be called, it's contained in my dear devotees. My dear devotees. What does Prabhupada say? I'm going to read it again. So one who does not indulge in speculation. So speculation means I'm trying to understand Krishna on my own. That's what it means. Through understanding Shastra and looking at the grammar of Sanskrit and using my fertile brain, I'm trying to understand Krishna. And then karma means I'm trying to gain something from Krishna by doing some ritual or even seva to get something material. So if you're not going to Shastra to try to come up with your own meaning, or just using Shastra just to merge in Brahman, and if you're not serving Krishna, if you're serving Krishna without any motive, then Prabhupada says, you're a pure devotee. That's his definition. So I think that incorporates practically everyone in ISKCON, right? Unless you're doing devotional service to be the number one person, number one devotee in ISKCON, if that's, why you exist, or to become wealthy, or, to get a lot of followers, which generally is not why we become devotees. So you're a pure devotee. Practically all the devotees and disciples who have kindly joined me, their symptoms are pure devotees. They are by symptoms, they are by these symptoms pure devotees. That's Prabhupada's point. And now he's even getting more generous. even if they have some ulterior motive, it's going to be removed soon. Because the process is pure, Prabhupada said, because they take to the pure process. So you might say, but I'm not pure. Prabhupada said almost all the devotees, practically all the devotees, yeah, except me. All right. Even if you think you didn't qualify for this purport, for this letter, the last line Prabhupada said, but very soon, because you're in a process that's pure, you'll become pure. That's the idea. So we have some comment in the chat. Devoto puro. Okay, devoto puro. Okay, we're finished. My dear pure devotees. How about that one? That's even better. My dear pure devotees, the affirmations are in the chat, one from the end. If you can copy them and use them as an experiment, and let me know in our next class. That would be fantastic. And we're going to use these, Anuradha is going to copy these affirmations and then we'll use them in the introductory talk on japa, which is coming up at any moment. Nadia is flattering me. You want me to answer that question? I can't answer that question. Yeah, I can answer that question. I'm not the only one that gives inspiring classes, believe me. But maybe Sheshika Prabhu also has some bhakti affirmations. I have them written down somewhere. So let's stop this class and I don't know, what do we do? I never really understood the science behind stopping this class and starting